It's funny, that video came out. So I went back to Ireland in August, and the video came out in September. And while I was in Ireland, I was at one of my best friend's wedding, and I got really drunk, and I was doing this Irish dance, and someone got a video of it, and I'll show you the video after. And I'm doing this amazing dance, like the dance floor spreads open, and it's just me, and then I have a full pint of like Guinness that's like I managed to not drop, and then I fall and the Guinness smashes everywhere, and I just get up and run away, and I ran for like 40 minutes into the woods because I was so embarrassed. But that video went viral the day I released the music video. Like within about an hour, I had 150,000 views or something.
No way.
Of me dancing at this wedding, and I was like, "Hey, go look at my music video!" But everyone was just sharing this video of me falling on my arse. I'm glad someone saw the music video that I put lots of time into, and not the video of me falling down.
Hello, people of the world. We're back again with another episode of Sam's Sessions. Very special day today, as always. To my right, good friend of the shop, we got Pat Byrne, hosting the show, as always, the world's worst interviewer. How are you doing today, Pat?
I'm good. I don't think you're the world's worst interviewer. I've seen some clips, and you're quite a pro.
I appreciate it. Do we have clips out there yet?
Well, I got sent a clip and I watched it. And I was
like, sweet. Yeah, we tried changing it at one point to like most mediocre and then most adequate, but world's worst interviewer is just, it's my favorite tagline.
It's a good title.
I'm going to stick with it till I die. I mean, imagine like I'm like, like interviewing some like world famous renowned person. I'm still calling myself the world's worst interviewer,
Well, you can't lose, like you said, after you've introduced yourself like that. Yeah. It's all uphill.
Yeah, it's like, what's your favorite color? And then cut the interview after that.
There you go.
And nobody's surprised. I do have a lot of really cool stuff I want to get into today. Like researching you, I found out a lot of exciting stuff. Of course, I talked to you in the shop before, but it's one of my favorite things about doing this is sometimes like you guys just seem like regular musicians, and then I start to find out stuff about you, and I'm like, holy shit, I should have like bowed down when I saw him. You know what I mean? You deserve all the flowers in the world. The first thing I wanted to talk about is I know that you've been in Austin for about 6 or 7 years now, but before you moved here, you were in Ireland, and you were on a competitive TV show.
Yeah.
And it's kind of described as like y'all's version of The Voice, right?
It's The Voice, yeah. The Voice, I think, started in Holland, and it's been in 40-something countries.
Oh, wow.
So it might even have been in Ireland before the States. I don't know.
Okay, sweet.
But yeah, it was in 2012. So, it was about 5 years before I moved to the States, and yeah.
And so you won that show, right?
I did.
That's incredible. How old were you at that time?
I was 21. I was 20 when I auditioned, and then I was 20. It's a long period, and 21 when it was all done.
So being on a competitive TV show like that, I have to imagine there's not only the nerves of being on TV, which is major, but then there's the nerves of losing in front of everyone.
I mean, with a show like that, you just assume at some point you're going to lose.
Okay.
There's like 20,000 people audition, and only one of them is not going to lose. So you never think you're going to be the one that wins.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of a blur, honestly. It's like when women give birth, they just forget all that pain so that they can get on with things. I feel like it's similar. It was a great time in my life, but it also I was immature, and I hadn't written a song, and I just dropped out of college, and I was looking for something to kind of give myself some validity in the music scene, because I was gigging in bars, and I just entered this thing and ended up winning it. You never think you're going to win.
Mm-hmm. So what was the feeling like when you did end up winning? I mean, did you break down in tears? Were you just super elated?
I was elated. It was great. I mean, like I said, I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
It was a party for a year. I was in front of like 500,000 people every Sunday, getting to perform in a big theater. Before that, I had just been like in the corner in pubs all my life, and so it was amazing. And then to actually win it, like, it's all, your ego gets a massive boost. Very quickly afterwards, though, you're like, oh crap,
I got to find the next thing now.
Well, yeah, because I was never a fan of those shows, honestly, and still to this day I'm not. I've never watched any of them, and
interesting.
so you kind of, for me there was a lot of kind of self-hate that happened, and I got a little bit depressed, and I actually stopped playing out because I had this contract that was very restrictive, and they wrote a record for me that I put out that I had no love for, and eventually got out of the contract. But at that point, I'd kind of went back to playing weddings and still hadn't written a song for myself. It's kind of all that stuff is what led me to coming to America to kind of get away from it, you know, because I would book gigs and it would be advertised as the Voice of Ireland winner or whatever, which to me kind of scares away the crowd that you want to reach, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not going out to shows to see the Voice of Ireland winner, and I want to reach people who love music and songs. And
So you kind of had the struggle of escaping that tagline.
very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could go back and change it at all, would you? Or are you happy it worked out the way it did looking back?
Ultimately, it led me to this, so I'm very happy and no regrets. And it was an amazing experience that not many people get to experience, you know. But I struggle with that. Sometimes I think, would I just, if I could turn back time and not enter, would I? And I think I would never enter something like that again. I don't think it's a force for good in the world. And I think the world would be better off without those shows, honestly.
Interesting.
And so it's kind of, yeah, I don't know. I never mention it. It's not on my website. It's not a thing that I put out there.
Yeah, I did do some digging to figure it out, and I was surprised to find it.
I'm glad to hear. I don't. Yeah. It's been good, kind of writing and putting out music and not having to rely on that title. You know? So
there's kind of honor in you not wanting to use that title too. I find that really cool because I mean I don't know. I imagine if I want a TV show, it would be, hey, my name's Seth Welker. I want a TV show. You know, nice to meet you. I would be telling everyone about it. So
yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe if you did, you'd feel differently. It's weird.
Interesting.
And also, it's not the same. It's not as impressive as winning the US version. Like Ireland's a country of 4.5 million people, so it's not. It's a way smaller audience. It's not like you win that and boom, you're an international recognized name. It's more of a localized thing. I mean, it was very big in Ireland, but Ireland's a small. Like, you know, you can fit Ireland in Texas 9 times.
Yeah, so. It's not the whole world. I see.
So
I got to jump back a little bit further just because I heard you talk about how you were just playing in pubs before that. And coming from a dumb American, when I think of an Irish pub, I think of like very rowdy, you know, lots of drunk people going crazy.
100% accurate.
Okay, cool. I had to know. So what, I guess you must have been between like the ages of 16, 18, 20 doing
Absolutely,
that?
yeah. When I was 6. So I started as a drummer. I played in the local marching band. And then I did my grades, took lessons on drums and did all my exams and took drums very seriously. And that was my first instrument from the age of like 6. And then all the way through my teens, I was in rock bands and punk rock bands and played with some singer-songwriters. But my dad hated driving the drums around, and they were a loud thing to practice. I loved them. I haven't played in a long time, but I still love drums. But Dad got me a guitar for Christmas when I was like 15, and I just would teach myself in my bedroom. And then when I was 16, you know, no one was there to tell me how bad I was. No one else in the town was playing guitar or singing in pubs at that time. And so I had these 3 or 4 chords, and I squeezed every song in the world into those 3 chords. I had a capo, and I thought I was amazing. And so I was playing at everyone's christening and wedding, and I played in all the pubs like 3-4 times a week when I was 16. It was great experience, great way to learn, built my confidence up, and then I went to college and realized, wow, I don't know anything about music, because the people I made friends with were actually great guitar players, and they were singing in harmony, and I was like, wow. And I learned a lot from those guys. And even on The Voice, I was still in that early pub singer. Like, it's hard for me to listen back to those clips now. I'm just impersonating Springsteen and Dylan and like thick American accent, and it's just not very authentic. And it kind of, I feel like you don't find your own voice until you start writing your own stuff, because when I write a line, it's very hard for me to sing that in American accent because it's my words, you know. So that's when I started kind of singing in my own accent and finding my own thing. But pubs were a great way to learn and to get comfortable with a crowd. And
yeah, I gotta imagine a pub crowd's got to be one of the more intense crowds to perform in front of. If I asked you, like, what's the craziest thing you remember performing in pubs, does like a specific story come to mind? Like bottles being broken, fights, whatever?
It was that. Everything was. It's all a blur. I must have done thousands of gigs in pubs, and they're all pretty rowdy.
Yeah.
And at the time, that's what you want, because you're there to sell more beer. And so I would break 10 strings a gig, and I had no monitor, so I was screaming, and I developed this kind of raw voice that I have now. It just broke my voice down. But it was very much just get the party going, sing what people want to hear, which now is my idea of an actual hell. Like, I'm glad I'm not doing them anymore. It was a great start, but it's, living in Texas, it's spoiled here for great listening rooms, people who want to hear original music and great sound systems, and haven't broken a string at a gig in a long time, which is great.
So you moved here in 2018. Is that kind of the main reason you moved here, is because you liked the way that the live music scene was?
Yeah, I was it might have been 2016 or 17. I was visiting friends around the States. I got a lot of friends all over the country, and I was doing a lot of weddings at the time, but January was always a quiet month for weddings, so I would take that month to visit a new country. And so I was traveling around the States for like 3 weeks and just saw cheap flights to Texas, to Austin, and had no idea Austin was this music capital. Like, I just didn't know anything about Austin, didn't know who Guy Clark was, didn't know who Townes Van Zandt was, didn't know James McMurtry. Got a flight down here and spent 2 weeks in Austin. Maybe not even 2 weeks, but the minute I landed in the airport, there was a stage and bands playing, and I was like, I like this place.
Yeah.
Got in an Uber, and I asked him to bring me to his favorite bar, and he brought me to Mean Eyed Cat on West 5th, I think. Yeah, and it was a cool bar, but no one was in it. It was a Monday night, and so this guy Winker walked in. I don't know if you know Winker. Winker. Local legend, photographer extraordinaire, and I got talking to him, and I was literally had a suitcase and a backpack. And he was like, follow me. And he walked out the door and brought me to Don's Depot across the road. And it was a Monday night, and Chris Gage was playing. And I got talking to Michelle at the bar, and she told Chris I was a singer, not a songwriter at the time. And he invited me up, and I sang a few songs with him. And then I did it the next Monday. And at that point, I had been to the Saxon Pub. I'd been to the Continental. I'd seen all these. And I was like, wow, this place, I'd never been anywhere like it. It was just like heaven. I remember sending all these voice messages to my friends at home, like, we all have to come here, we have to spend time here. People are listening to original music, everyone is a musician, everyone who's in the crowd wants to listen, there's PA systems in all the bars, people aren't hammered and falling down. and I went back to Ireland, and I just couldn't. I was so depressed back in Ireland. I was like, I have to, because I was doing weddings, it's kind of my own fault. I wasn't writing songs. Yeah. But I was like, I want to be a songwriter. I want to do what these guys are doing. I want to live in that town. And so I told my agent to stop booking weddings. I stopped taking gigs. I finished my obligations for 2016. And in 2017, moved over on a 6-month visa just to see how it would go. Yeah. And I had saved up some money, so I was able to pay rent for 6 months, and I recorded some songs. And then in 2018, I made the move, got a 3-year visa, and
made it official.
Yeah, and never looked back.
That's so cool. It's like you came here like almost on accident, or like
very much, yeah.
Like you're kind of brought here. That's incredible. That's really cool to go to Austin as a musician without realizing what was happening in Austin at that time. That's
no idea. Sweet. I feel so dumb now because everyone else seems to know, but I just didn't know, honestly, and I wasn't.
No, that's incredible.
Wasn't hip to all the Texas music, and since moving here, my favorite songwriters are all Texas songwriters.
Right.
My taste in music has changed, and the stuff I'm writing is heavily influenced by Texas writing.
That's a really cool thought to kind of find your place so far from where your original home was. That's pretty sweet. Do you ever get homesick?
Yeah, I love where I'm from. I sound like I hate Ireland. I love Ireland. Yeah. But to make a living as an original musician in Ireland is very hard unless you're getting lots of radio play and you're kind of an international touring sensation, because people aren't really going to listening rooms and sitting down and listening to original stuff unless they're very familiar with the artist. So I just couldn't sustain the life I have over here. But I get home very often. I love getting home. But every morning I wake up in Austin, I'm delighted to be here. I feel very lucky to live here.
Yeah. That's really cool to hear. I commend you on a couple things. The first one being like just having the guts to completely move so far from home. I'm born and raised here. It's really hard to imagine living anywhere else. And when I do, it's like Colorado, which isn't very far from here. So that's really cool. And then to, kind of get in the Uber from the airport and just be like, hey, take me to your favorite bar, and then find connections that fast. That's awesome. It definitely says something about you. I'm curious. So it was 2018 you officially moved here?
Yeah, I'd been here for 6 months though in 2017. So.
Okay. So it's been about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
What kind of change have you seen in yourself since you moved?
Well, obviously, I'm a songwriter now. I'm proud to say that. When I moved here, I was like, hey, I'm a singer-songwriter, but it was kind of bluffing, you know? Because I maybe had half a song in the back of my head that I wanted to work on, but other than that, I had no... You know, after a few months, I had like 6 songs, and the rest were covers that I liked, and I relied a lot on singing the old Irish folk songs, because they're almost original over here. People don't know them, So that's the biggest change, that I can confidently walk into a place and sing a full set of my own music.
You're verified now, verified singer-songwriter.
I feel like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I can totally drop the voice thing, which is great. It's not something I have to say. I'm more confident, very much happier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All around good stuff.
It's all been great since moving here.
Hell yeah. That's good to hear. Have you noticed like the change in the city since you've lived here?
Yeah. Even the short time I've been here, you know, Fred Gills was demolished, that closed. 1-to-1, I know 1-to-1 closed for a while. I think it actually might be open.
I think 1-to-1's right there now.
Yeah,
directly across.
No,
it's done.
is it
Oh,
done
what?
now?
They're gone.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah,
Since
when?
when?
If you pass it, says release.
Oh
Right.
wow.
They try to make it work, and through the pandemic and stuff, but it's just.
Oh, that
Yeah,
sucks.
they lost so much money.
I went to go see a comedy show there like a year ago, and it was pretty dead in there.
Really?
Yeah, let's band together. Let's start a bar, guys. What do y'all think?
I'm in. Make it an Irish bar.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll take some of the Irish, inspiration there and
Call it a 232.
232. That's nuts.
That was a great room though.
Yeah.
Like I saw so much music there, but yeah, it never was kind of full anytime I was there. It was because it's a big room, and so it's hard to make it feel intimate. But it sounded great, but
Yeah.
you know, so that closed. Cactus Cafe, I think, is still doing music, but it's different. You know, it's not what it used to be. I think. So on that side, I mean, the venues are kind of closing down. That's really sad.
Well,
even though, like, before I moved here, I hear so much about Strange Brew and all these other places Hills Cafe places I never got to see. So I know, you know, I'm well aware of how it's changing. And
we had someone back here. I can't remember exactly who it was, but they're like, it's of course changing like within the city, but a lot of those spots are kind of like popping up outside the city lines. Like, you know, you have Kyle and Buda that are getting a lot of cool venues. So was it? Yeah, but so basically, it's almost, you can look at it like it's just expanding outwards, which is cool. But yeah, the change in Austin's been nuts, and I saw that you moved here. To me, it seems like somewhat recently, but I'm like, man, even in that time, you've probably seen crazy growth.
Yeah, I mean, nothing compared to you and everyone I talk to. Like, it's such a big topic of conversation.
Yeah.
How much it's changed, and I still love it.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
To me, it's just. But I moved here 6 years ago, so what do I know? But I mean.
No, it's cool.
It's
cool.
getting too expensive. That's a thing I can definitely say.
You're now at the point where people that have been here for 6 years can just start calling themselves Austinites because, like, you know, it's like
not me, not with this accent and this skin.
I guess there's some merit there. I'm curious, how much does your heritage influence your songwriting and your sound?
Massively.
Yeah.
That's what I am. I'm a very proud Irishman, and growing up in those pubs, I mean, as rowdy and as crazy as they were a lot of the time, there's also a beautiful side to it where, I mean, sessions are happening in most bars in Ireland, and there's always like fantastic musicians sitting in the corner singing these really old-time folk songs that came from Irishmen long ago, and there's the most beautiful songs you've ever heard. So I was surrounded by gorgeous lyrics and poetry and melodies that you don't hear in any other style of music, and that's just woven into me. Like, I grew up singing all those songs, and it's just, whenever I sit down to write a song, that's just there.
It's always going to pour out. Yeah,
it's in my vocabulary, and yeah.
I want to talk about one of your more recent songs, "Feeling Indigo." I'm a big fan of that song. Anybody who does watch this interview should definitely go listen to the song after. Was it just you that came up with the concept for that music video, or was there like a creative team behind it?
I had nothing to do with the concept of the video. These great women, the Ray sisters from California, were in town. They're friends with Andrea McGee and Ben Jones, and they liked that song, and they asked if they could do a music video, and they're just extremely talented. They're cinematographers. They work on movies, and
Okay.
it's their job. And they did it on a very small budget, and I'm very grateful to them. We just did it in a day. They storyboarded it, and I was like, yeah, I'll do whatever you want. Just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I ended up having to get in a lake with all my clothes on, and it was in like January, February. It was freezing. And that lake, we went out to a house, and just before I walked in, the guy was like, no one's been in that lake in about 30 years. Let me know how it feels. And I'm like, wow. And then he throws in all this food to the lake, and all these catfish start jumping up. It's a tiny like pond. I'm like, wow. It was terrifying walking in. They look like monsters. I'd never seen a catfish before. And then I was like, why didn't you do this after I got in the lake? So that was fun. But
They look like monsters to you. That's awesome.
catfish, man.
That's crazy because, maybe there's some acting chops in there for you then too. Because watching the video, you can't tell that you're freezing cold or freaked out at all.
I'm an incredible actor.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm definitely not a good actor. I love movies and TV, though. I might
Yeah.
even love movies more than music.
No
It's
kidding.
like my favorite thing. Well, I don't love it more, but it's up there. On
Up there
par.
with
It's
them.
like,
Yeah.
I go to Alamo a few times a week. I got that membership, and it's my
Nice.
favorite place.
I'm gonna get your top 3 favorite movies here in a minute.
That's a tough one.
But yeah,
That song, by the way, I wrote that with Ben Jones.
okay.
Yeah, I started writing that song the week I moved here almost.
Oh wow.
It was just about the transition, and then I sat on it for ages, just unfinished, and Ben helped me finish it off. So
Okay, interesting. So, again, amazing music video is really cool. But so, what does feeling indigo mean to you?
well, to me, it was like a stalemate. When I moved here, as you alluded to, it was a terrifying move. I mean, I had a secure thing in Ireland. I was gigging all the time, making good money. Soul was dying slowly because I was just singing the same 30 wedding songs
Yeah.
4 nights a week. But to give all that up when I finally was in a secure place, I had a car and a place to stay and everything, was scary. And move somewhere where no one knows you and just, have the idea that you're going to start writing songs. And when I got here, obviously that's way harder than it sounds. And I just had a lot of sleepless nights thinking, did I make the right decision? And I started writing the song at maybe 4 a.m. in the kitchen of the place I was staying one night, just describing how I was feeling, which wasn't sad because I was very proud of myself and happy. I wasn't. And so it's just a play on feeling blue.
Yeah.
But it's not quite blue. It's like a shade that's just this weird thing I can't define. So that's
A shade brighter almost. So, and
Yeah.
that's why I feel that's why I feel like that song is so special because it's like it's a true showing of art. Art is subjective. Everyone kind of feels how they feel about it, and it can be
Yeah.
totally different. But you're not necessarily wrong. But watching the music video, listening to the lyrics, to me, it was like, feeling blue, you're feeling sad, down, and then you take this color indigo. It's a shade brighter. It's kind of more hopeful feeling.
Absolutely.
But you're not on top of the world or anything.
Yeah.
It's not yellow or whatever.
Working on it. Yeah.
Exactly. So I really, really like the concept for that song. And of course, you end the music video with going home, sitting on the couch with your dog, and like everybody knows we love dogs here. So it's
That's
like,
the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my life, because we were in the lake earlier that day, and they were like, "Oh, don't keep those clothes. You're gonna have to put them back on later." And I had just dried off, and it was freezing. I had to put them back on inside the house. So I don't recommend doing that. There's all sand in them and everything.
Oh, that sounds awful. Yeah.
I'm glad you watched it. It's
yeah.
funny that video came out. So I went back to Ireland in August, and the video came out in September. And while I was in Ireland, I was at one of my best friend's wedding, and I got really drunk, and I was doing this Irish dance, and someone got a video of it, and I'll show you the video after. And I'm doing this amazing dance, like the dance floor spreads open, and it's just me, and then I have a full pint of like Guinness that's like I managed to not drop, and then I fall and the Guinness smashes everywhere, and I just get up and run away, and I ran for like 40 minutes into the woods because I was so embarrassed. But that video went viral the day I released the music video. Like within about an hour, I had 150,000 views or something.
No way.
Of me dancing at this wedding, and I was like, "Hey, go look at my music video!" But everyone was just sharing this video of me falling on my arse. I'm glad someone saw the music video that I put lots of time into, and not the video of me falling down.
The drunken Irish jig dance. Yeah, that's awesome. You should just tell people like, hey, the guy that did that dance also created
I should
a
have
really
just
cool
put the song over that video of me on rotation, me falling on the dance floor.
There is a way to tie into the how you may have been feeling after falling and feeling indigo. Honestly,
There you go.
It could have.
It's subjective.
It definitely could have worked for that too. That's incredible. Were you gonna add something there?
Yeah, I was gonna ask I had a question. Did you in moving here? Did you know Andrea and Ben before moving here, or did you meet them in Austin?
I met them in Austin, and it was like a while after moving here. But the minute I landed, everyone was like, "Oh, so you're Irish? You must know Andrea and Ben." And I was like, "No, I don't know who you're talking about." But they kept coming up, so I was well aware of who they were. And we finally met, and we played together in Don. Don's is kind of where I met most of the people, because it was a thing I did every Monday, and I always got to sing and meet people that way. But yeah, we just became friends very quickly, and then Andrea and I started the Irish band Ula, and we play every Sunday at the Saxon. And then through that, me and Ben became really good friends, and we write together quite a bit. And so yeah, that's nothing to do with being from that part of the world.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody here, so
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I appreciate you answering all those questions in the depth you did. That was really cool to get to know. For the next part of the show, we'll jump to kind of quicker, rapid fire questions.
Okay.
But of course, you talked about movies. I'm a movie fanatic myself. What are your top 3?
oh, that's such a hard question.
The first ones that come to mind, at least.
Well, the Banshees of Inisherin this year was my favorite movie, and the minute it finished, I just said to my friend, "That's my favorite movie of all time," because it had such a big effect on me.
And what was that?
The Banshees of Inisherin. It's the new Martin McDonagh movie who did
I haven't
In
seen
Bruges, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, 7 Psychopaths. He did all those movies. He's
Wow.
the best writer out there today.
Okay.
And this is his best movie, and it's Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, set in the 1920s in a little secluded island off the coast of Ireland.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
It's-
Yeah, it's about 2 best friends that end up hating each other just all of a sudden.
And it's so the trailer is like, oh, this is kind of crazy, The idea is that one of the friends just decides he doesn't want to be his friend anymore. Stop talking to me. We're done. And the other friend is not ready to let go of the friendship. And in the movie, the reason is because he feels like he's wasting his time. Like he wants to be remembered, so he wants to spend more time writing music and being productive rather than wasting his time chatting with people. Which some days I feel that way. It's like I don't want to just go for beers. I want to try write something or do something,
Yeah.
And so it's real relatable in that way, but you get to see how important it is to just be nice as well. I don't want to get into the movie too much because I recommend everyone just goes and watches it. I laughed the whole way through, but it's also the worst I've ever felt.
Wow.
And this empty feeling stayed with me for days afterwards. But still, I laughed the whole. He's just such a good writer.
How
the dialogue's
interesting.
amazing. The scenery is gorgeous. The soundtrack is great. He uses old Portuguese kind of vocal music set against this Irish backdrop, where most writers, directors would use traditional Irish music, and it would just make more sense. But I don't know. There's something about the movie that's just, I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's Colin Farrell's best performance. So that's in recent memory, that's just what's on the top of my mind. And
I
then,
got to see that one. That sounds great.
yeah, it's a shame you're not going to get to see it in the theater because it's really worth it. It looks.
Isn't that interesting? There's those certain movies where the theater experience is the best experience you'll have watching the movie. It's just not the same watching it at home.
Right. I used to think that saying that for movies is reserved for Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, but actually I kind of think it's every movie. I can't think of a movie that it's not better to see it on a massive screen.
Yeah.
In all its glory.
With
And
the
where
loudspeakers
The
and
loudspeakers
everything.
blowing your face off. Like Top Gun. Did you see Top Gun?
I didn't see that.
Oh my God.
I didn't see that one.
It was brilliant.
Yeah. I saw the original a long time ago, of course, but no. I
Yeah,
haven't
but
seen
this
it.
one is he's kind of ironed out the kinks. It's not the. There's a lot of flaws in that first one, and I still loved it when I was a kid. But this one is just masterpiece.
Knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Does that take number 2 spot, or does
No,
that
not
take
at all,
one of
no.
the top 3?
No, it's
So-
just a great movie.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I mean, Back to the Future will always have a special place because it's a perfect thing.
Mm-hmm.
What else do I love? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is all Taxi Driver, King of Comedy, all those great Scorsese ones. Raging Bull. I can't pick 3. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you don't have to. It's cool to just kind of get your thoughts on it. We'll make it a little bit easier on your brain here. Debit or credit?
Debit. I never had a credit card till I moved here because we don't have this credit rating thing in Ireland.
Okay.
And so I wasn't able to rent a car for the first 3 years because I have no credit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm always a debit person.
Car or truck?
Truck.
Yeah.
Only since moving here.
Okay. You got the cowboy hat and boots too, huh?
Yeah. I hate getting in a little car now.
Man, I'll be driving a sedan until I die. Maybe I'll upgrade to an SUV one day, you know?
What is a Highlander an SUV? I'm driving a Highlander now.
Yeah,
and I
that's a
feel
SUV.
so good being up here.
Yeah, Toyota Highlander, yeah.
And when I get down, I was driving a Lexus E330, a sedan.
Oh, yeah.
Like a 20-year-old one.
Uh-huh.
And when I get in it now, I just feel insignificant. I want to be at eye level with all these Texans.
Yeah. My pop's just got a Highlander. It's like, it blew me out of the water, dude. I love those cars.
I love it.
It's so nice. It's you know, you think of Toyota, and at least for me, I think of a Corolla, but like Highlander's a whole different beast.
Yeah. Very happy.
Let's see, big venue or small venue?
Small.
Yeah. Is it just because it's more intimate?
Yeah. Smaller the better. The sound is better. If I'm going to a gig, I want it to be as small as possible, and if I'm playing a gig, I want it to be as small as possible.
Very cool. Let's say you're talking to someone on the phone, like a romantic interest. Would you rather have a phone call with them or text?
Phone call. I hate texting.
Yeah.
All my friends know this. If you open any text thread in my phone, it's like 1 million texts from them and no response.
The king of ghosting people over here.
Yeah, I'm just not good at it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah. You know, for me, I really do not translate well over text at all. Because I say ridiculous stuff all the time. But if it's face to face, or at least like you can hear my voice, you can see the inflection I'm putting on it.
Yeah.
But when it's over text, man, I mean, I get blocked and banned and all kinds of stuff we won't go into.
I gotta read these texts. That doesn't sound like an inflection problem. I don't like that inflection.
Yeah,
You're
no,
cancelled from this.
Let me blame it on what I want to blame it on. You know, I'm fine. I have no flaws. There's nothing wrong with me, dude. You a morning person or a night owl?
Used to be a night owl. Maybe I still am naturally, but I just love when I get my girlfriend's an ER nurse, and so. Well, I used to have to drive her to work all the time. We were sharing a car, and I would have to get up at like 5:30, which I hated at first. And then it was like, wow, I have like, it's almost like getting 2 days in one. Mm-hmm. So I love getting up early now, but you know, I also love the nighttime. That's hard for me. I do most of my writing really late at night, so maybe I'm better at night.
That has to be objectively the best time to write, is at night.
I think so. But
Like,
a lot of people will say, like
morning.
my friend Eric Betancourt is like, no, the minute I get up, I have to start then and get it done. And Paul Simon says that he works from early to.
If I like have a really crazy dream or something, and I'll wake up feeling a certain way and kind of inspired, then sure. But yeah, it just seems like at the end of the day, your thoughts are more clear.
Yeah, there's something more vulnerable about everything. Everyone sends their like most vulnerable texts really late at night. And
Exactly.
I don't know. I feel like I have access to more things.
That's an interesting thought right there, because it's very true. I mean, of course, there's the drunk text thing, but you don't have to be drunk to be sending some stuff late at night, you know?
No.
Awesome. Pat, I can't thank you enough for doing this, man.
Thanks for having me.
Seriously, so much fun. Can we get you to stick around to do a little performance for us?
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Landed on the runway in Chicago. Bought a coffee, then I traded it for a beer. And the connecting flight to Austin felt like nothing. I'm gonna give this place the best part of a year. And the woman at the motel is hard of hearing. She doesn't understand the way I speak. So I straighten out my accent and give her every last cent. Said I need a room to see me through the week. and I'm hungry, but the work's not coming easy. I'm tired except for when I'm not awake. And I put on my shirt and tie, tell myself another lie. No, you're not gonna miss another lucky break. And I wake up early in the morning and fill the day with useful things to do. But the only time it ever feels like living is when I'm down beneath the surface with you. When I'm running from the ruckus, hiding from the circus, down beneath the surface with you. My show last night was wrapped up by 11. There was 11 people breathing in that air. 2 who knew my name, 2 just watched the game, 7 drowning sorrow with despair. These Sunday nights are breaking me so slowly, chasing down that runaway thrill. Sometimes trying to play the game feels like trying to find a vein. I'm sick and tired of pushing water up this hill. But still I wake up early every morning and fill the day with useful things to do. The only time it ever feels like living is when I'm down beneath the surface with you. When I'm running from the ruckus, hiding from the circus, down beneath the surface with you. When I'm running from the ruckus, hiding from the circus, when I'm down beneath the surface with you.
Thank you.